guys, and welcome back to another episode of Life According to Paolo, where I get to interview trailblazers, but in this case, game blazers from around the globe, like today's guest called Dan Licari. He's absolutely amazing, and I'm really excited about this. Over to you, Dan, to introduce yourself and tell the audience who you are and what it is that you do.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Val. I think that you've done a great job on your podcast so far, and thank you for reaching out to me. And I think there are a lot of things that I could cover, but based on what you were saying that you're interested in particular, I suppose is this new emerging world of video games, which has been there a while, but now it's kind of come full to the full attention to most people. And so yeah, I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, which is in the northwest of America, about 2 hours from Canada. But my mom's German. I lived all over the place. My dad was a park ranger, so I lived in all kinds of different national parks in America. And I've learned a lot to the fact that there's a lot out there that you haven't seen, no matter how much you travel. So the bite-sized adventure, that there's a lot more to come. Okay, yeah, it's a great thing. And what I've learned when I moved to England, it was at the time when this thing called the internet in the late 90s was starting to rear its head. And that's when I helped businesses, mainly through government contracts, people that were saying, we're going to look at this industry in a new way. And so I helped entrepreneurs then navigate that. And then there was this thing called the mobile generation, which was everything's going to be in your pocket. And apps were around, and it's obviously still continuing to grow. But in the early 2010, it was all the rage. And since then, kind of coming into the 2005, 2010 was this video game surge, which used to be a bunch of teenage boys in their bedrooms, I think is what that's the way they used to talk about it. But now it's become the biggest industry in the entertainment industry in the world. It's bigger than TV, film, and music combined as of now, which is a feat from some point. But what I've been working on is a lot of the technology companies that work in that space. So they're people that have actually, I think, driven a lot of the technology development in the world, from chip, speed to graphics. And so they actually now have these things called augmented virtual reality, different aspects of ways of viewing the world. And those all came from gamers, really. Game technology has been driving a lot of these things for some time. So it's been fun and really interesting, because a lot of the entrepreneurs that I've been meeting over the years, there's nothing one thing they never lack is passion, right? So to always hear what things are coming over the hill. I think if I was you, and I have a teenage son and a teenage daughter, because I've been kind of around them and they've been playing with some of the toys that I've been able to get my hands on, that I think you have to look at drones. That's the future. I tell you, and it's fun too. It's amazing what they're doing with those with drones at the moment. But the thing that my kids were able to do was, because a lot of the games companies needed real customers, not someone that they needed their age group customers. Sometimes they were, your age, maybe up to 16 or whatever, but usually they were kids. And so they became testers for some of my early companies. One was a skateboard game called Ollie Ollie, which were some amazing developers that came out of London, Southeast London. And they were all in their 20s, but they were teaching media to the local colleges there. And they made a few different games, and this Ollie Ollie came out of nowhere, which was a skateboard game, mainly kids aged 10 to 15. And so the nice thing about it was that I could bring my kids to test, and I was the manager of my son's football team at the time, so that always helped, because then I had kids on hand that were able to come down, and all we had to say is, okay, so can you play this game, and we'll buy you some pizza. And that was it worked out well, and they got amazing I think feedback from them, which was real pointed, and it helped their game make a success. It was one of the first big games on PS4. And it actually won a BAFTA, funnily enough. And so, yeah, these 20 somethings were up on the stage, and the people that they won against were Madden, FIFA, Forza, huge, companies. And there's this young team from Southeast London that made the skateboard game called Ollie Ollie. And yeah, so it was amazing, and that's a story that now has gone through over the last few years. And I think what you'll find, and that you asked me about gaming in particular, and I say gaming as in video games, not gambling, is that it's about, a different kind of thing where people are actually engaging in it on a higher level. And sometimes, when you're sitting in your bedroom and your mom says, okay, turn that off now, time to go down for dinner. Yeah, you've never heard that, I'm sure. But that when that happens, kids are turning back going, no, I'm just training. I'm an esports veteran or, professional. And, you couldn't have dreamt that 10 years ago. But the fact that, there are 15, 16-year-old kids that they are doing really well by just playing video games. And it's a mad world that we live in at the moment. But at least the thing that you do learn when you are playing games is a lot of other skills that are outside of what you learn in school, soft skills and collaboration and teamwork and things that are communication in some ways, because you meet kids from all over the world when you're playing. But the other thing about it that's interesting is that to people that want to go into the industry, which is what, both my kids now have wanted to do, so that the subjects that they want to learn are the STEM subjects, math, science, and it can be art. My daughter's, she actually is more into art, but she still has the ability to be part of that in terms of being able to build her own worlds that then get translated onto a screen. And it's amazing that can happen. And a lot of the best talent in the world right now are particularly people that give a story that is unique, and that can come from anywhere. Right. And I mean, your story is pretty unique. and I think that, as a character, the pint-sized adventurer, we got to make that game. I can see it coming out, right? You got to decide if you're going to be more of a Harrison Ford, an Indiana Jones character, or if you're going to be more of a superhero character. But you can decide. But the nice thing about it is that's the beauty, is that people can do this on their own now. So that's a nice thing to be able to I think do from your bedroom, or in lockdown from your front room. But in essence, the lockdown that's happened over the last year has only fueled more interest in games. And actually, the games industry itself has grown 50% in 12 months because of people just looking for interesting things to engage with. So I hope that I went off subject a little bit there, but I'm sure you'll be able to edit this properly. So whatever.
That is absolutely amazing. That was absolutely amazing. So for those who have not even heard of you and thinking to themselves while you introduce yourself, what is a Dan? What is a Dan Licari? Or even maybe what is a game changer? What is the game changer? Do you mind just explaining that a bit? So kind of what is your why, and when did the game changer start?
So the game changer was because as I helped companies along the way, that a lot of those companies, like I said, were in different industries. But when it was actually the games industry that was growing, what I ran as an accelerator for a venture capitalist company, so a VC that would invest in new technologies and new companies. And so they were looking at games as one of the areas. And so what I ran for them was an accelerator, which takes 10 companies, early stage companies that maybe have a game or have a game technology or something, and they move in 3 months a lot quicker, because they're bringing a lot of different things that can help, whether it's finance, whether it's, marketing, so maybe they're really good at technology, but they're not really good at other areas. So it's about bringing up some of those other areas during that time. So the Game Changer was an accelerator run out of Lemmington Spa. You ever heard of Lemmington Spa?
Yes, before we'd done this interview, we'd done an introduction, right? And then you told me all about that. Yeah.
Well, Lemmington Spa is a place in the middle of England, which is where the heart of the games industry came from. And that place right now is really going strong. In fact, since we talked, One of the companies that moved there, Mediatonic, was bought by Epic Games, who make Fortnite and the Unreal Engine. So the other company that just was the mainstay, Codemasters, they were bought by EA, Electronic Arts. So there are a lot of activity, but the point being that these are companies now that are coming out from, two of those companies on my accelerator are now in that same category, right? They're people that are, they grew that. In fact, one of them hired 50 people during lockdown. So the kind of opposite of the rest of the economy, right? So that's a big difference. And I think that those are the kinds of jobs right now that are going to be coming through. And so my background has been running and helping companies grow and giving them the pieces of the puzzle that maybe they didn't have, if that makes sense.
Definitely. It's not like you're speaking another language, so I definitely understand. Absolutely amazing. So what are the 3 most amazing adventures that you have been on within the gaming industry?
Well, I think that, what's really cool about being in the games industry is that it's always fun, right? And that's the nature of it, straight away, that you're able to have fun with what you're doing. And I think that's the one thing that I always felt, and I think my kids get, and I hope that you'll understand. As soon as you find something you enjoy, you won't even be working anymore. And if you can figure out how to make money from that, you're quids in. So I'd suggest that's where you come from. And I think the exciting things that you see in the industry is that every year, up until last year, because of COVID, that you would always have these meeting places where people would come together. And
you got Comic-Con, you got like huge festivals.
Yeah. So Comic-Con is kind of a crossover, right? And that's, more just pop culture, so comics, a lot of YouTube, influencers, all that. But games has been a part of that, and cosplay, which is when the people dress up in their favorite character. And it's crazy. But Gamescom is the one in Germany. That's, I think, physically the biggest. So I think last year they had 700,000 people come to the show.
Big crowd.
And it's a trade show. So games are showing off their newest thing and everything, but it's also for the public, for gamers. And so I'd say 20% of the audience dress up, and they dress up serious, like it's crazy. So you got Pokemon walking next to the big blob against, it is something to witness. So you just, Google, Gamescom and see pictures. It's madness. Yeah. But of course they couldn't do that this year. It will come back again. But I think the other shows are very interesting. One, they're all over the world now, but when you go, to go to G-Star in Korea, another one that's amazing is the GDC that happens in San Francisco every year. But I think my favorite has been Brighton. The one they do every year is the UK developers. And they, the 1 month of the year that you might get some sun in July in the UK, they go down to Brighton and they take over the town. And yeah, it's really a really nice feel, because it's something where you always have really interesting people. And it's a real mix of talent, of kind of arts versus science, and kind of come together. So it's really nice, and I think you're going to see that a lot more. Ideally, when we come out of this, people have been holed up for some time and wanting to see their others again. Those are the kind of events. South by Southwest, which is in Texas, Austin, Texas. Again, it's just when you have those experiences once a year, it's something that really, I think, are the highlights of working in this sector.
Definitely is. So I'd just like you to tell us, like, just looking at your social media posts and stuff, not only about some of the stuff that you're involved in with Gaming Malta, but also your company, The Game Changer. What do you see that your audience loves most about your company?
Well, so my, as a consultant, which is, that I actually run things through Rockfind, which is another company I work with. And from my perspective, what they come to most for me is the next stage, right? And whatever that may be. But typically they'll have something that's, they're not quite sure. And it's usually a new market or a new sector that they're not thinking of going to. So could be a game that they go, you know what, it might be good, on an app store, but it really would be good to train nurses how to make injections better, or, something like that comes out that's kind of real, the serendipity moment, where and I think that is, I think my tagline for the game changer was engineering serendipity, trying to ensure that, sometimes these magical moments when you meet people, whether it's at these shows that usually happen or someone saying, hey, I know this kid, he's got an amazing, backstory, and he does this great podcast. Maybe you should talk to him. And then there's this guy that runs a podcasting outfit, that I know that's really good at producing these things. I just end up saying, well, maybe you should guys talk. And that's usually how it works, is that because I've had this weird and wonderful group of people that I've met over the years, these different technologies, that, just connecting to people that can help each other is probably better than anything else. So they come to me to find that connection.
Definitely. So, with anything that you are doing, you just told us about the other company that you work with. So how can people get involved with anything that you're doing with regards, Gaming Malta, or is it Rockfine? Rockfine, you just said?
Yeah, so rockfine.co.uk is the website, but they're a consultancy that helps companies expand. And my piece in particular has been in those verticals around games and emerging technology, but also in particular in regions in the world. Like I said, because I'm from Seattle, also do quite a bit here in the UK, and also the one that you mentioned there early, Malta, this little rock in the middle of Mediterranean, which is an amazing place. And so I think one of your other podcasters, Ivan, I've been working with him for a few years now, and I've been going down there for 10. So and put that on your list of the bite-sized adventure story, because it's like an onion of history. Every major civilization has gone through, and you can still see it and still feel it.
You can.
So it's got and it's only, it's the size of Coventry, so it's pretty amazing as a place. So I think find me on LinkedIn, Dan Licari, Licari, or come to the Rockfine website. But from my perspective, I just, I'd like to make sure that I pass on what you've been doing, because it's been very fascinating hearing where you come from, and I wish you the best going forward too.
Thank you so much, Dan. But just before we go on to your final message for the audience, whether it's words of inspiration or upcoming projects, I'd just like to ask you, where can the audience go to find your products and services, the companies that you work with or for, and how can they just connect with you as well?
Yeah, so I think the current work around expanding companies. I'm working with Rockfine, so it's rockfine.co.uk, and you'll see there the kind of services that they're sometimes the boring legal and accountancy stuff. But for me, I think it's about the practical stuff that typically these companies don't know. So they might have a company they haven't actually set up in another country. So that's the kind of work I do on. And I think LinkedIn for me, if it's something that you want to be connected to, is probably the easiest, because I 99% of the work I do, I don't charge anything, because I just want to pass the love, right? It comes around, goes around. So I'd rather just see how many more people can connect for benefit to everyone, I suppose. So that's the easiest way, I suppose, to get in touch with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's just been absolutely amazing, Dan. So just before we go, do you have a final message that you'd like to share with our audience? Maybe some words of inspiration, details of any exciting and upcoming projects, just anything that you'd like to share with us?
No, I would definitely suggest that continue to encourage young people to take initiative and learn it for themselves, because you can give them knowledge, you can give them the information, but the knowledge comes from them experiencing it. So that's what I say to my kids. It's all about the people you meet and the experiences you have, not the things you buy and the things you keep. So I hope that's enough, pocket wisdom for me.
That's been that's absolutely amazing, Dan. Thank you so much for coming on my podcast today. It's been absolutely amazing. And guys, this is to the audience, whether you're listening in your earphones, whether you're watching on your phone, make sure to go ahead, give Dan a follow on LinkedIn. Go to rockfine.co.uk, see what they're doing, check them out. Also, Dan's already giving you words of inspiration. I'm not gonna say anything else. I'm not gonna add anything else to that. He has really said it. So thank you so much, Dan, for coming onto my podcast. Had an absolutely wonderful time, and I wish you happiness, prosperity, 2020 and beyond.
2021.
I'm still back 1 year.
I know. It's just blowing. It's blowing by before you know it. What day is it? What week is it? What month is it? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But 2021, I do know we're in that year.
I guess I like to stick. I guess 2020 is sticking with me. I'm getting used to saying 2021 now.
I know. And tell me about it. It usually gets me. Usually about March, I start to change. I start to change the date when I'm putting it in. So really good to speak to you, Paolo. Listen,